So Keir Starmer's benefit cuts cast doubt on his pledge to end homelessness. We're going to read into this more from Byline Times, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article from Byline Times with a headline that Keir Starmer's benefit cuts cast doubt on his pledge to end the homelessness. If you take money away from people who haven't got very much, you'll get more homelessness, campaigners warn. A reminder, if you haven't already, hit that like button and share this across social media so others are notified of this video. And it's true. How are you supposed to tackle and end homelessness if more people are going to round up on the streets? And here's the thing as well, is another factor as well, is that a lot of people whose asylum application has been successful, and they have to move out and find their own accommodation once they move on when their application is successful and they're in the UK. Do you know what happens to quite a lot of them when they don't know where to go? They also end up homelessness as well because they can't find accommodation for themselves. So you have, so you're not only having British people homelessness, you're also having people who come to the UK for a better life, better opportunities and whatnot, and they find themselves on the homelessness as well. So I don't see how this government in any way, shape or form can end homelessness, given the current situation that we are going through. And as they're saying there, as it's looking to cutting benefits from the most vulnerable people in society. How does that benefit anyone? Who does that benefit? Why are we not asking more money from the wealthiest in society to pay that little bit more? That's all we're asking. We're not asking to take all their money away, although that personally would be preferable. But surely you would want them to pay just a little bit more so that those who have barely anything can actually live another day. Surely that matters to you, does it not? Campaigners have warned that Sir Keir Starmer's government's planned benefit cuts are undermining his plans to end homelessness, as new figures show the number of households in temporary accommodation continues to rise. Ministers have committed to increase funding for homelessness services by £233 million next year, which will take spending to almost £1 billion, which they argue will put the UK on the path to ending homelessness. However, the plan increases come as the government is also slashing spending on benefits, leading to fears that any progress could be reversed. Speaking at the London Housing Summit on Wednesday, Labour MP for Vauxhall and Camberwell Green, who chairs Parliament's Housing Committee, has said for most a shocking thing about the housing crisis is estimated 160,000 children, 90,000 of which are in London, woke up in temporary accommodation. Some of those children will not sleep in the same bed tonight. Some of them will be asked to move to another B&B hostel. That's 9,000 equates to one child in every single classroom here in London. And when I was elected as chair of the Housing Community and Local Government Select Committee, I was determined to make sure that we put the stories of these children and the impact on their day-to-day lives in the front and centre of the work that we are doing as a select committee. Her speech followed the release of statutory homelessness statistics for October to December 2024, which revealed that the number of households in temporary accommodation is at its record levels continue to rise. And this ties, obviously, this also ties into homes as well, because we need to build a lot of homes. We're also our population is also increasing as well, which is also problematic, which is contributing to the homelessness crisis as well. So they're having to juggle these situations as well. So it's very, very challenging. Regardless of whatever political parties you support, we should be doing absolutely everything we can to help people get off the streets, help people be able to get accommodation that they need, to be able to give them the means to be able to live their own lives, be able to help them find a job that's suitable for them, for them to be able to have accommodation for themselves, to be able to feed themselves and clothe themselves, to be able to have a life of some sort. Because what is a life when somebody has absolutely nothing and they're sitting on the streets? Nobody chooses to be homelessness. Nobody chooses to be on the streets. And we need to find our compassion and care in helping these people in the best ways possible to get them off the streets, to give them a better life for themselves. 127,890 households were in temporary accommodation on the 31st December 2024. That was up 1.5% from the previous quarter and up 13.6% from the same time last year. Mbashki's pledged to work to end the crisis, saying, "Let it be that every single home that we are bringing forward together with the government includes general affordability homes and social homes, so that we can get those children out of temporary accommodation into a home on their own." Some campaigners in the housing sector worry that the government's house building program will be insufficient to tackle the scale of the crisis. Dan Wilson-Cror, Deputy Chief Executive of the Generation Rent, said, "Behind every statistic are thousands of stories of people facing some of the most stressful, traumatic and insecure time of their lives. More and more children are spending their formative years trapped living in temporary accommodation, often in overcrowded and unsafe conditions, and at a huge cost to local authorities. This is a national scandal that demands government action." He added that the government house building program is welcome, but it will take years to have a noticeable impact. People need change now, and I must intervene to slam the brakes on soaring rents, while also unfreezing local housing association on those on low incomes, have more options in finding a home. Others worry that progress also risks being undermined by the planned cuts to personal independent payments, which I've mentioned already. Alex Bax, Chief Executive of Pathway, a charity focused on the health of homelessness people, told Byline Times there have been some positive changes since the Labour government came into office. Things being done in the name of the Home Office are no longer quite so horrible. The government has had a different set of people who are not as harsh and punitive or stigmatising as before. However, he added that a cultural shift was being undermined by further government cuts. We've got teams around the country either being cut completely or having staff cuts, so our services are under pressure and being threatened. On the issue of cuts to personal independent payments, Bax said, "If you take money away from people who haven't got very much money, you'll get more homelessness. It's not very complicated." Government spokesperson has said, "No person should be in poverty. That's why we've extended the Household Support Fund again and are maintaining discretionary housing payments and are giving an extra $233 million to councils directly for homelessness, including the largest ever investment in prevention service, taking the totals of nearly $1 billion for 2025-2026. We have set out a sweeping package of reforms to health and disability benefits that generally support more people back into work, while putting the welfare of the more sustainable footing so that the safety net is always there to protect those who need it most, while our $1 billion employment support package will unlock work and help move people out of poverty as part of our plan for change." I mean, it's government rhetoric as always there when it comes to from what a government spokesperson said, but like, in all seriousness, like, the fact that people are consistently being shifted around because of these temporary accommodations is an absolute travesty of itself. But there are some things that the government can do to take more actions in order to help reduce that. Too much money is being spent. Too much money is being spent on this issue, guys. And I don't mean on homelessness. I'm talking about temporary accommodation. The consistently having to shift people places because there's no home for them. This is an issue that needs to be addressed. We need to ensure that these people are able to find homes. We need to ensure that children are going to the same schools, that they're not shifted from different schools to schools. What kind of education is that for them when they're constantly being shifted around? What kind of future is that for them? And you wonder why people end up in lives of crime. Not enough is being done. More needs to be done. We know more needs to be done. This government is aware that more needs to be done. The question is, are they doing enough? As of right now, no, I don't think they are. I welcome the investment that they continue to put in to try and end homelessness. And I generally do hope that by the end of this parliament, homelessness has been reduced and that more people are off the streets and more people are actually making a living for themselves, living their lives and contributing to the economy. I generally hope that. I really, really do. But it is still a long way to go. So what do you guys think? What do you guys make of the story? What do you guys make of homelessness overall in the UK, in particular here in England? Let me know your thoughts on this story and more down in the comment section below. If you found this video informative or helpful in any way to you, hit that like button, share this across social media, subscribe if you haven't already. Do check out Rumble and Patreon for exclusive content. And if you want to financially support me, do click the join button down below to join the YouTube membership for as little as 99p. And do join us on our live streams, on the live streams that I do throughout the week as well. So thank you all so much for watching. And I hope to catch you all very, very soon.